Groupons-nous. Et demain, l'international sera le genre humain.
What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, fantastic afternoon, fantastic pre-noon. No matter where you are in the world, I'm Hassan Piker, and this is the HASAN broadcast coming to you live from relatively not so sunny, relatively decent temperatured, beautiful Paris, France. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs, oui, salut. We are live, and we are alive. First government shutdown in years.
Shutdown in nearly 7 years. Yes, this is happening. It officially began at midnight because lawmakers and President Trump failed to reach a deal. Both sides are now in a bitter fight over spending priorities and blaming the other. According to one estimate, up to 750,000.
Incredible coverage, by the way. Every media outlet, for the most part, has been covering this as though, you know, both sides have the same kinds of demands here. I mean, what are they doing? Can't they all get along and not let the government shut down? And it's been mind-boggling to watch from afar because the framing is so psychotic. Like, the Democrats are shutting down the government or refusing to push another funding bill because they have no other mechanism to defend Americans' health care. Okay? They just don't. Government shutdowns only happen because the American government has to get back together and decide that we're going to keep funding the American government. Okay? It's already a unique predicament. The reason why it's happening this time around is because, well, Trump. It's because of Trump. Because the Republicans have basically pushed through insane bills that cut tax for the wealthy or make them permanent, the previous tax cuts permanent that were supposed to sunset, while simultaneously cutting a tremendous amount of healthcare expenditures by making it more difficult for people to be able to stay on Medicaid. And this is the reason why the Democrats, first and foremost, primarily, this is the reason why Democrats are trying to get assurances from the Republican Party. Make no mistake. It's because there's $800 billion in cuts coming down for Medicaid. They want to, at least in the interim, continue funding Medicaid in this next spending cycle. There's a bunch of other reasons as well. One of the reasons is because Donald Trump is using what is it called, like a pocket veto, and basically deciding that now that the Supreme Court has given him the power to do so, basically deciding unilaterally that it doesn't really matter what kind of congressional budget assurances are made, because he can just veto them. He can on his own go out there and be like, oh, you guys are spending $5 billion on U.S. aid, for example. Sucks to suck. I'm not letting that happen. And the Supreme Court basically gave him that power to do this, okay? So obviously, this kind of takes away the entire purpose of Congress. It's like the Congress is supposed to be the purse, right? They're supposed to control the purse. And now it turns out that the White House can just say, don't see that. Don't feel that way. So that's another major point of contention for not just the Democrats, but even Republicans as well. Republicans are also frustrated with this. They're just pussies and they won't say anything about Donald Trump. Basically shredding what remains of the separation of powers, right? There is going to be a major impact, obviously, when the government shuts down. There are almost 1 million people in the federal government that are furloughed. As it stands currently, as of today, all of the federal government workers are technically working without pay. That just means there's no assurance. Obviously, in the next pay period, if they end the shutdown by the next pay period, it doesn't matter. They get paid. But right now, there is no guarantee that they might get paid. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the federal government agencies will actually scale back on the people that they are hiring, or definitely scale back on the people that they're hiring, but like scale back on the people that are working in real time. Now, of course, one would expect ICE to also get this drawback, except Donald Trump has said ICE is still going to, and Customs and Border Patrol is still going to work full throttle as they have been. Don't know how that's going to work. Don't know how they're going to find money in the bank for that. But yes, fear not, they are legally required to back pay employees. And a lot of people are currently working without pay, technically. That doesn't mean that they're not going to get paid. If the shutdown ends by the next pay cycle, you just get paid as you normally would.
Nancy Cordes is at the White House this morning. Nancy, good morning. This is terrible news for workers who are waking up in limbo. Good morning to you. What can you tell us?
It absolutely is, Gail. You know, usually these shutdowns get headed off because one side blinks or there's a last-minute agreement, but this time neither of those things happened. And so as of this morning, the federal government is technically out of cash. How long will it last? No one knows.
After Congress failed to reach a deal last night, tens of thousands of federal workers will be told to stay home today, furloughed without pay. Workers deemed essential, like air traffic controllers and members of the military, will stay on the job, though they won't get paid for now either.
Most TSA officers live paycheck to paycheck.
Aaron Barker works for TSA in Atlanta.
If it gets to that point where officers...
This is also going to absolutely cook travel as well, which is going to be interesting for me when I come back to the United States of America. Obviously, like, there is going to be a scale back on the employees that they even put out on the security line. So there's that issue too. You know, everything is going to be busted. Everything is going to suck. Everything already sucked, but it's going to suck even further. Obviously, we want the federal government to work. The federal government is good. It should work well. And the Trump administration has been actively trying to ensure that it doesn't work well at all. They have been undermining the federal government. So this is just a little bit of a taste of what it will look like if Donald Trump and his administration got their wishes across.
Can't afford to come in or have to make a decision whether to purchase medication, pay daycare, or put gas in the car to come to work. They're going to have to make that hard decision, and no one really wants to do that.
But they may have to, because late last night, a funding bill did not pass the Senate. It needed 8 Democrats. It got 3.
You know, the only real victim here is the American people. This is so unnecessary and uncalled for.
Dog, you guys are Republicans. You want to victimize the American people. And the entire reason why this shutdown is even happening is because you have been actively victimizing the American population. This is one of the few instances where the Democrats actually got a light lit up under their asses and have put on some semblance of a fight. Make no mistake. This is information warfare. The next couple of days are going to be basically the Democrats and Republicans duking it out. Republicans lying and saying, oh, it's the Democrats want to fund illegal immigrants or whatever. And then the Democrats being like, no, this is because of health care. They're probably going to do not a great job of defending their position, even though their position is totally defensible. And it's going to be important. It's going to be important to communicate exactly why this is taking place. And the Republicans have already started on their messaging campaign by claiming that this is actually $1.5 trillion of money that the Democrats want to give directly to the illegal immigrants. Donald Trump posted that that AI video where he put HAKEEM Jeffries in a sombrero, called him a Mexican, and then did that AI speech for Chuck Schumer saying all the illegal aliens hate us. Or we want to give them money, and if these illegal aliens were to learn how to speak English, then they would learn to hate us as well. All this shit, and unfortunately, Democrats have a tough job ahead of them because they're, 1, deeply uncharismatic, 2, not exactly used to fighting back, and 3, they already have, everyone has a tough time combating the misinformation, the faucet of misinformation that comes from the Republican Party. The government websites have already been propagandizing the position. Here's the HUD website. The radical left in Congress shut down the government. HUD will use available resources to help Americans in need. It's fucking ridiculous. This is like unheard of. It's unseen. No one has ever done this before. It's pretty crazy shit. Okay, they're just straight up using all of the outlets available to propagandize to the American public. If the Democrats did anything even remotely similar to this, they would get blasted out of orbit by the Republicans. But of course, they're doing it regardless. They're blaming AOC. They're blaming whoever the fuck they can. It doesn't really matter. It's all bullshit. Okay? It's all bullshit. I'm here to tell you what is actually going on. And then also tell you that, you know, there are some downsides to this, especially if the Democrats don't demonstrate messaging discipline and find themselves in a bind and then are seen shouldering the blame, shouldering the responsibility of the shutdown.
Our guarantee is to the American people that we're going to fight as hard as we can for their health care.
President Trump is warning his administration might use the funding lapse to push through more mass layoffs. I asked him about that yesterday.
How many federal workers do you plan to lay off?
Well, we may do a lot, and that's only because of the Democrats.
Later in the Oval Office,
Yeah, this is just posturing. Because like, if you're saying that the government shutdown is bad, then, and the Republicans are saying that, then you can't turn around and be like, yeah, I can't wait to fire everybody permanently. It's a lie. Obviously, when push comes to shove, when shit hits the fan, Republicans also recognize the importance of the fucking federal government. They don't want to shut down. They know it's bad. They know it looks bad for the Republicans. But remember, the most important part of the shutdown is the demands. If you don't get your demands across in this treacherous information landscape, because the Republicans are so used to bullying the shit out of you, then you're cooked. Then you will be seen as the responsible party for the shutdown, and you won't even be able to achieve the goals of pushing for a shutdown so you can get concessions from the Republicans on protecting people's health care. This is very important because that is the reason why the shutdown is happening. But I do not believe that Donald Trump is like, oh, I'm going to fire everybody. I'm going to fire everybody. Bitch, you're still begging for half the people that you fired with Doge to come back to their positions, okay? Are they stupid enough to go along with this and then actually use this as an opportunity to fire a bunch of people? Maybe. But ultimately, that will backfire on this administration as it did already with Doge. You can't continue this race to the bottom. You can't do that. You can't, like, take advantage of the shutdown to fire more people, because you need those people. You need to hire more people, ironically enough, not fire them. A decently competent party, which the Democrats are not, would use this opportunity to say, hey, look, we want to protect your health care. These guys already cut it. They want to keep cutting it, and they're behaving like petulant little children, and they're also threatening to fire more government employees. It's ridiculous. It's completely unacceptable. Look at the priorities for either party. Which message resonates better with voters? We want to protect your health care. Republicans, on the other hand, don't want to protect your health care. They already destroyed your health care. It's going to happen after the midterm elections. We want to claw back some of those expenditures. The Republican response to this has been, well, we're just going to fire more people.
President Trump continues to taunt Democratic leaders about all this on social media, posting another AI-generated video of House Minority Leader HAKEEM Jeffries, which is similar to an earlier one that Jeffries called bigoted. He also posted these photos of their Oval Office meeting on Monday with Trump 2028 hats prominently displayed on his desk.
Oh, God, this fucking thing. It's just so stupid. Like, what do you say to this? What do you do? What do you say? I'm not Mr. Aesthetics. I'm not Mr. Civility. But god damn, dude. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Donald Trump engages in behavior that would be disqualifying on a daily basis. Not even on a daily basis, like 4 times a day minimum. We're not even doing messaging at this point. Like, Republicans aren't even messaging. They're just trolling, which is so crazy. Like, you're the fucking government, man. You're playing with people's fucking lives. Trump 2028, yes. Yeah, I love this. It's for the dumbest people that you know, like this guy, okay? He's like, oh, yeah, I love this. Oh, aren't you triggered? Aren't you owned, you fucking libtards? It's like, dude, your healthcare is cooked. You're about to eat poison for meat. And you're over here being like, hell yeah, but we own the fucking libtards, big dog. Good luck, man. Good luck. You're going to be like, what is happening? A natural disaster is going to take place. You're going to be like, I don't know. I wasn't warned. I wonder why. I wonder why you weren't warned. Because these fucking dipshits fired everybody that would give you the proper warning ahead of time. Now your fucking house is underwater and you can't even get a fucking FEMA. You can't even get FEMA assistance. You can't get the proper recovery and you can't even rebuild your home. Why? Because they also cut funding to FEMA and also said you have to do a loyalty pledge to Israel if you even want the minimum amount of recovery and relief aid. Hell yeah, but you owned those libtards though, man. You really did. You fucking owned them. You owned them so hard. Lamau. What do you do with people who are too stupid to understand that they're getting fucked over? Like, I'm not a big fan of the Democratic Party. This is not a secret. As a matter of fact, I rail against them quite a bit. I criticized them earlier for not being good at communicating, for example, being bad communicators in general. Having said that, even as someone who is very critical of the Democratic Party, even as someone who has actively at times been combative with the Democratic Party, I still recognize that right now they're fighting for your health care. That fucking dipshit sitting over there that's now worth $7.3 billion, wonder how that happened, is stealing from you and giving all that money back to his wealthy friends and campaign donors. What will it take for you to comprehend that this dude is fucking you over? Let natural selection take place? That's not how it works. There's no natural selection under capitalism. It's the poor that get shafted. Plenty of poor people who don't deserve this. Nobody really deserves this. Even people who are begging for it, in my estimation, don't actually deserve it.
Overnight, senators blocking dueling proposals. Democrats overwhelmingly rejecting a GOP bill to keep the government funded.
The bill upon reconsideration is not passed.
And Republicans blocking a Democratic bill to reverse Medicaid cuts and extend Obamacare subsidies to keep healthcare costs from rising for millions.
How long would you be willing to let a shutdown go on until your demands are met? As long as it takes?
We need to save healthcare. It's so basic and existential for a lot of American families.
With lawmakers deadlocked, the president turning to mocking Democratic leaders, posting another AI-generated video on social media, showing Democratic leader HAKEEM Jeffries wearing a sombrero and a fake...
This is one of those things where, like, you just have to... You can't get, like, mad about this. You just can't. It's like a child, right? Under no circumstance can you openly get mad about this shit. You just have to be like, dog, what are we doing? I mean, look at this guy. Like, I want to fucking save your healthcare. He already stole money from your healthcare so we can give it back to his wealthy donors. And look at the kind of silliness he's engaging the serious subject matter with. 750,000 jobs are at risk right now. Americans that live paycheck to fucking paycheck. And that's what the president is doing. Because you say this makes MAGA hard. Okay. What about all the Trump voters that work in the federal government, Chad? What are you talking about? They're worried about their fucking paycheck. This is what the president's busy with. You're forgetting that this is not like, it's not just Democrats that work for the federal government, okay? There are people that work in the national parks. You would assume that that's like a very woke job. Except there are plenty of fucking Trump voters that work in the national parks, for example. Just like Medicaid is not a partisan thing. Republicans are on Medicaid just like Democrats are on Medicaid. So you have to communicate that to the people. You have to make them understand who's actually wishing them harm, who's actually doing them harm.
We need from the President of the United States an individual who actually is focused on doing his job as opposed to engaging in racist or bigoted stereotypes.
The president trying to ramp up the pressure, threatening mass layoffs and cuts to programs.
We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like.
Like, that's such a stupid... Like what? Like what, dude? The EPA? Great. The FDA? CDC? Like, what do you mean? National Weather Service? Like, what? This is the federal government. This is not a partisan thing. Oh, my God. Yeah, you'll see. You'll see. I'm going to make sure everyone's getting trichinosis from their meat. You'll see then. Oh, the Democrats will be so owned. We'll own all the libtards when you don't know. When your house is flooded and you didn't know ahead of time and you didn't escape because the National Weather Service is cut because it's woke and gay. Everybody transgender at the woke weather service. Fuck yeah, dude.
Members of the military also hit hard, many forced to work without a paycheck. Jamie Billard, whose husband is in the Coast Guard, preparing to...
You think those motherfuckers are all Democrats? You think these guys are all libtards, chat? How do they feel when they hear their president, the guy that they voted for, turn around and be like, I'm going to cut them. I'm going to cut your jobs. I don't give a shit. Like a petulant child. You think they like that? No, this is an opportunity to explain to people, to show them the truth. This is an opportunity to expose the truth for all of your loved ones who are fucking Trump supporters still at this point, if you have any that you haven't cut contact with. Like, this is a perfect opportunity. He is so bad. Like, he is just, I don't know. He's like a kid. He's like a little baby. He's behaving like a little baby. And he's threatening the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of government employees purely to posture from a position of leverage.
Chuck Schumer saying that the American people are with Democrats when it comes to opposing Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. But where are Americans in terms of...
I'm going to get so annoyed with the way that they present this stuff in the upcoming days, where they'll say like, well, a lot of Americans are blaming the Democrats. And I'm worried that like the Democrats are going to see that and get scared and get cold feet and not actually present a strong response. Democrats will cave, give it 1 week. I don't have a lot of confidence. I do not have a lot of confidence in the Democratic Party. I will be honest with you. Having said that, we just have to hope that they can get some concessions from the Republicans, even though that sounds so far out in the distance. It sounds impossible.
CNN's Harry Anton is running the numbers on this. What are you seeing?
Yeah, what are we seeing? This is an American public that more so than ever before I've looked at the polling is willing to go to a shutdown. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look. What Americans wanted...
Boom. That's all I needed to hear. That's enough. Holy Toledo, okay? Holy Toledo. The very fact that there's 49% appetite for stand-on principle in 2025 is enough. This is not supposed to be a popular position. It's like strikes. Work stoppages are controversial. Okay? They're damaging. They're scary. People don't know what might happen. There's a lot of instability that comes with it. But this is leverage. This is the only leverage that the Democrats have to fight back against the administration taking money directly out of your pockets, taking money out of your health care. That's why they're doing this. And I really, really hope that the Democrats can stress the importance of that over and over again, because this is an opportunity to stand on a visible platform and say, this is why we're doing it. Nobody wants a shutdown. The Republicans refuse to give assurances and protect people's health care.
Well, traditionally speaking, I got the 2013 numbers. The majority of Americans want compromise, no shutdown. You go back to 2013, just 33% said stand on principle, even if it means a shutdown. Come to this side of the screen, we see an even split, right? 50% of Americans say they want a compromise, no shutdown. But up like a rocket, standing on principle, we see now 49%, basically an even split on Americans either wanting a shutdown or, in fact, saying they want their side to stand on principle. I think we're hearing a lot of that from Chuck Schumer.
Which group has shifted the most in terms of compromise or not?
You know, it was so interesting to hear those clips of Chuck Schumer being played back from 2013, from all those past shutdowns.
And just from March, right?
Potential shutdowns. And what has changed significantly is Republicans have always been willing to basically say, you know, we should shut down the government and stand on principle. But now Democrats, a significantly larger portion of Democrats say, you know what, let's...
Yes, Republicans are always in favor of a government shutdown because that's at the heart of Republican messaging. Republicans act as though the federal government is irrelevant. The Republicans act as though the federal government is worthy of significant cuts because they're stupid and they don't understand that the federal government is important. It's not only a, 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 It needs to exist for people to live their daily lives without fear that, you know, the food that they're purchasing at the grocery store is poisoned, or know exactly when some kind of devastation might take place in the form of a natural disaster. Roads run as they normally would, you know, just like every aspect of our lives. The federal government is there, invisible. Federal government, as I always like to say, is only visible when it's failing. If it's invisible, that means it's doing its fucking job. And the Republicans take advantage of that and regularly act as though they don't give a shit about the federal government. That they did this with Doge already. When it's a Democratic White House and GOP Congress, GOP's happy to shut down the government to hold their line because it's beneficial to them. When it's a GOP White House, they want the same no matter what. They have little motivation to reopen because they're conservative. I don't think so. Considering that they control the White House and Congress right now, this will look like a severe incompetence that will lay squarely on the shoulders of the Republican Party. If the Democrats message correctly, they will be able to actively shift the attention to the ways in which the Republicans are cutting their health care, which is incredibly important. And not only that, but also they will be able to put the blame on the Republican Party and their incompetence and their inability to address this pressing demand. That's the best case scenario. Breaking: shutdown impacts are starting. Republicans are shutting things down and destroying projects. This is stupid of them, in my opinion. And as they now will own the shutdown side effects like idiots, nearly $8 billion in green new scam funding to fuel the left's climate agenda is being canceled. The projects are in the following states. So fucking stupid. That's jobs, man. That's jobs in states, okay, where Republicans will be working as well. I know that these are, for the most part, blue states, and that is by design, for the record. If you noticed, they're not cutting funding or canceling projects that were allocated to jobs in red states. They're such fucking assholes, dude. They're such animals. How do you deal with this shit, dude? How do you deal with a government that has identified half the population as its enemy? And it's ironic because they used to say Joe Biden is doing this when he says that, like, MAGA Republicans represent a threat to this country, but he never did shit like this. You know what I mean? And he wasn't even wrong when he said that MAGA Republicans are a threat to this goddamn country. It's like, low-key, he was correct. It's so crazy that they're just openly waging war on Democratic cities and Democratic states. And it is obvious that they're like so careless about it too. They just don't care. Like they're not thinking about the impact of this. They're not thinking about what this will look like down the line.
Democrats, the party of open borders, transgender for everybody.
Oh my Lord, brother, you can't put that in an ad, man. That's so dumb. They're so fucking stupid. Oh my God. Oh my God. What do you say? What do you even fucking say to this shit, bro? Democrats, the party for transgender for everybody.
Transgender for everybody. Lawlessness in our streets are shutting down the government in an effort to appease the radical left. These Democrats are coordinating their strategy with outside leftist groups and are demanding nearly $1.5 trillion in spending for an agenda that includes healthcare for illegal aliens and much, much more. Democrats for years have railed against government shutdowns, claiming a shutdown would mean much chaos and pain and needless heartache for the American people. Democrats are out of control, and you know who it hurts?
You, everyday people, and the most vulnerable. Seniors, veterans, working families, hungry kids, y'all.
Tell Congress to avoid the Democrat-led government shutdown.
Federal workers are being told to blame Democrats for the shutdown. Workers at one agency were given unhinged partisan language to use when setting out of office replies. What do you say to that? Like, this is unheard of. The Hatch Act is for nothing. Okay, it doesn't exist. Seemingly, it's just it's nothing. It's fake. They're using otherwise like nonpartisan instruments to directly make partisan appeals for one party over the other in a way that I've never seen before. Writing emails like a North Korean news reporter. Yeah.